There are some mornings that change everything. For families in Minneapolis, yesterday was one of those mornings. Parents sent their kids off to school just like any other day. Backpack zipped, lunch boxes packed, maybe a quick hug or a kiss at the door. None of them could have imagined that by 8:30 a.m., their world would be shattered by the sound of gunfire. Inside a place of worship, inside a place that should have been safe. It was the very first week of the new school year at Annunciation Catholic School. Children were gathered for morning mass. Imagine the scene. Little ones whispering to their friends, some giggling, others fidgeting in the pews. Teachers gently reminding them to stay quiet. Prayers echoing softly across the church. It was peaceful. It was innocent. And then, in seconds, that peace was gone. Gunshots cracked through the stained glass windows. The sound was deafening, terrifying. At first, some thought it might be something outside. But when the glass shattered, when pews splintered, when people fell, panic set in. Teachers screamed for kids to get down. Parents threw themselves over their children. The sacred space filled with chaos and fear. And in those moments, 2 children, just 8 and 10 years old, were struck and killed. 17 others were wounded. 14 of them were children. Some are still fighting for their lives tonight. The shooter was a 23-year-old man named Robin Westman. He came heavily armed, carrying a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. He fired into the church from outside, and then turned one of the guns on himself before police could reach him. The most chilling part? His own mother worked at that very school. Investigators say he had no criminal record, no history of violence, no clear warning signs. Nothing that could have told anyone what was about to happen. When the shooting stopped, the silence was haunting. Children clung to their teachers, too scared to let go. Parents ran onto the school grounds, desperate to find their sons and daughters. First responders rushed in, doing everything they could, but the damage, the loss, was already too great. The mayor of Minneapolis called it a day of unspeakable sorrow. Teachers who had spent their lives guiding young minds were left broken. Parents were left with questions that will never have answers. Those 2 children who died, they weren't just names. They were kids. Maybe they loved cartoons. Maybe they were looking forward to recess or soccer practice. Maybe they had plans for the weekend. They had families waiting to hear about their day. Parents who should have been tucking them into bed last night. And the children who survived, they now carry memories no child should ever carry.
Instead of remembering the hymns and songs from Mass, they'll remember the sound of gunfire. Instead of stories about friends and laughter, they'll remember hiding under pews, crying, praying that they would live to see their families again. And here we are, once more, asking the same heavy question. Why? Why are our children not safe in schools? Why does a church, meant to be a place of hope and prayer, become a place of terror? This isn't just about Minneapolis. It's about every parent who drops their child off and wonders if they'll come home. It's about every teacher who goes to school to inspire, not to shield children from bullets. And it's about every child, every single child, who deserves to grow up without fear. As we think of the families who lost their babies, as we pray for the 17 who are fighting to heal, let us not forget their faces, their laughter, their humanity. They were not statistics. They were children. They were loved. And to every parent listening, hug your kids a little tighter tonight. Because if this tragedy teaches us anything, it's that every single day with them is a gift.